What's going on, guys? Raiden here. Today we're playing some Domination on launch. I'm using GALIL silenced with spy plane, counter spy plane, and Blackbird. My normal kill streak setup, but I'm not going to be focusing on the gameplay today because I had a topic that I wanted to talk about. So as I was playing Black Ops today, I was in a search and destroy game, and some guy on the other team was kind of running his mouth. Now, granted, I did kind of start it, I will admit that, but the reason why I was getting mad is because he was running around trying extremely hard with the normal GB setup that a lot of people run for MLG variant. And for those of you that may not be familiar with that, it's pretty much FAMAS with lightweight, sleight of hand, and ninja. All pro perks, of course. And when I see that, I always get mad because, to be honest, there's really no reason to try that hard in a pub. I mean, if you're in GB, then by all means, try as hard as you want. Obviously, there's a lot more at stake in a GB. Now, by saying this, I understand I might make some of the GB players mad, and I am by no means trying to insult the GB players by saying that, they try way too hard or that GB is gay. I love GB, and I love being competitive, and my friends will all tell you that, because anytime we play people that are usually better than your normal pub person, I always seem to excel. I mean, when we play players that are kind of bad, I have the chance of going negative, but for some reason when we play players that know what they're doing and are usually pretty good, I always do better than I normally do, which is just that competitive vibe. I like having something at stake and something to play for, and I feel like what I have to say is relevant and definitely something that you guys can listen to, because my GB experience is definitely extensive. I don't have the best rank in the world. I think my rank is 150,000, or around there, 165, which isn't the best, obviously, but it's definitely high enough to know what I'm talking about. And a lot of people that GB all the time are, above 100,000 or really, really high up. But I've been GBing since CoD 4. I started out on a dubs team with a really good friend of mine who doesn't play much anymore, and my most fond memory, even though we got raped, of GBing is when we played Mario and Luigi in dubs. And for those of you that know PS3 GB fairly well, you'll know that Mario and Luigi are very good, and we came across them in a doubles match, search and destroy. Needless to say, we lost, obviously, but we pushed them into overtime the first game and then lost the second game 4-0. But needless to say, my GB experience is extensive, and I definitely know what I'm talking about when it comes to the differences between pubs and GB. Obviously, I don't GB as much as this guy did in this lobby, but he was telling me that he was on the number one team and blah, blah, blah. And I don't believe that for 1 second. I haven't looked, and you know what, he might be. I might be wrong, but I think that a lot of people try way too hard in pubs if they're a GB star. And that's one thing I kind of wanted to explain, is the difference between a GB star and a pub star. A pub star is someone who plays pubs all the time. He smashes everybody, he's really good, he's always doing well. And I don't want to say he's well known, because there's so many people that play pubs, 500,000 on PS3. More than that, but, the average number of people on every day is like 400,000 or something. So chances are, somebody that's not, somebody that plays pubs all the time is not going to be very well known among everybody. A GB star is kind of along those same lines, but only not in pubs, obviously, and it's easier to know somebody that's in GB and excels because of their rank. If they're ranked at the top, 1,000, then they're usually really, really good and pretty well known. Although, if your GB rank is above 100,000, then that's a pretty good rank, but there are so many people that look down on pub stars because they're not, in GB. And to be honest, a lot of people that play pubs don't have any desire to play competitively. Now, as I mentioned before, I love being competitive, so GB is something for me that's really fun. But a lot of people just don't like the trash talk and that kind of thing that goes on in GBs. And I think it's wrong for GB stars to look down on pub stars and say, well, you're not good, look at you, you're smacking these guys that barely know how to hold their controller, and yeah, a lot of people don't know how to play the game well, but pubs is our way of playing the game and doing well. And could you call me a pub star? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I pub stomp a lot with my friends, and I do well a lot. But I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a GB, or not GB, a pub star in truth, because I do GB. I mean, I haven't done it in a while, but I have done it before. So I'm not a true pub star, I would say. But I was just talking to this guy, and he was telling me that I should quit trying so hard. Now, coming from my perspective of this, you can understand why I kind of got mad. Why would I be trying hard? I was using an MP5, okay? He's using the most overpowered gun in the game with a GB setup, and he's telling me that I'm trying too hard. And it's a pub, so, obviously you don't need to try like you would in GB, but I'm a competitive guy. I like to win, so why wouldn't I try? And that's fine if he tries too, but he's telling me I shouldn't try that hard when it's a pub when he's the one using a GB setup. That's what really made me mad, and I think that, if you're a GB guy and you're playing pubs, that's your time to let loose and just kind of mess around. I don't think you should run the exact same setup you always do in GB because, what does that leave you with? You play the game to use one gun the whole time? That's really boring. Granted, you did spend the money on the game. You bought the game with your own money, and you can do whatever the hell you want on it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how you should play the game when you're the one that, bought it, but I just think that the game gets extremely boring if you use one gun all the time. But anyway, guys, the game's wrapping up. I know that was a really random topic, and I may have gone into a little bit of a rant there at the end, but it was something that I kind of felt like I wanted to talk about, and something that maybe you guys wanted to hear about. I don't know. But let me know. I don't know how many of you guys have experienced GB. I know a lot of my friends do, but I'm not sure about my other subscribers. But anyway, guys, it's the end of the game. My final score was 23-1, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Later.